So it's a paraphrase of the famous statement by Jesus Christ that the kingdom of God is within you. And Swedenborg says, yeah, he's telling the truth on that. Heaven is something that actually begins in the human heart and mind, rather than in some exo-spiritual space somewhere. This is from Heaven and Hell 53. Swedenborg writes, heaven is not outside angels, but within them. Their deeper levels, the levels of their minds, are arranged in the form of heaven, and therefore are arranged to accept all the elements of heaven that are outside them. So you have this form of heaven in your mind, and it accepts the heaven outside. We're going here because you're saying, what if I don't like heaven? What if I don't feel at home there? Heaven is the definition of home. I mean, it is the outward expression and realization of the thing, the deepest longings in you. This is like you're coming into your sense of belonging, your sense of community and of groundedness. Heaven is the experience of being home. We're talking about heaven is. There's a lot of things. Can we distill it down into a clear definition of what ties all this together? What is heaven in the first place? Well, Swedenborg gives a few of those. There's an interesting one here in Heaven and Hell 3:19. He says that, we're coming right into the middle of, he's trying to convince his readership, which would have been all Christian at the time, that no, it's not just Christians that can go to heaven. Anybody can go to heaven. Non-Christians can go there too. So that's where we pick up here. People can realize that non-Christians as well as Christians are saved if they know what constitutes heaven in us. For heaven is within us, and people who have heaven within them come into heaven. The heaven within us is our acknowledgement of the divine and our being led by the divine. So there's a one-sentence definition for you: an acknowledgement of the divine and a being led by the divine. Now, again, if we didn't do section 2, and we didn't establish God's coolness, then that could be like, oh, but that's just going to be arbitrarily led around by some grumpy deity. That does not sound like heaven. But if you think of God as light, love, and knowledge, as the deepest, most expansive love in the universe, and even as Swedenborg put it, love for the entire human race, the love of helping, the love of making conscious beings happy, to follow that is heaven. That is the most blissful state you can be in when you are really putting yourself into a cause like that. That's what being led by the Lord is, because that's all the Lord cares about, is doing good to people, doing good that makes a difference in happiness for somebody. So that is heaven. And when we have that inside, then we can come into this heaven that you can see and interface with externally. But if you don't have that square, you can't get into heaven. So that's why there's this whole process of working that. And that's important to realize, because it's not like it's being introduced from the outside. This is something that starts growing right in the heart and in the mind. And Swedenborg describes it further in Heaven and Hell 54.
It can never be said that heaven is outside anyone. It is within. Because every angel accepts the heaven that is outside in keeping with the heaven that is within. We can see then how mistaken people are who think that getting into heaven is simply a matter of being taken up among the angels, regardless of the quality of their inner life, who believe that heaven is granted merely because of the Lord's mercy. On the contrary, unless heaven is within an individual, nothing of the heaven that is outside flows in and is accepted.
But do you see the implication? So assuming we all take that journey of getting this heaven inside so that we resonate with heaven outside, which God is offering that journey to us every moment of every day, according to Swedenborg, we just got to put in some work. But with the inside leading what heaven is, it means that all this stuff we've been showing you in these maps, all of the splendor and everything that's not even represented there and that is, that's all based on what's in the hearts and minds of angels. All this stuff originates there, right, and comes out. That everything beautiful you see, everything moving, everything that people go on these near-death experiences and say, that was amazing. That is a reflection, a correspondence of the best things that can be inside the souls of people. This is the most noble things that we see here, altruism, selflessness, sacrifice for others, these things that, wow, that moved me. That is, heaven is that stuff alive around us, right? Within us and around us, which I think is pretty cool.